You want me to stay here, boss?
Jeremy Wyatt from Warwick University in England. Thanks very much indeed. I was really impressed by some of your examples and your virtuous cycles. I didn't hear much, and perhaps that's because you, like me, are a doctor-like background, about the role of managers in health systems in some of these countries. And of course, one of the fundamental requirements for good management is information. In fact, some people say that if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. I just wondered whether you'd like to comment on the relative importance of healthcare management, maybe even the status of healthcare managers in some of these more developing nations compared to, say, North American countries where the healthcare managers, and the UK too, are really quite important to demand information. That some of the pressure comes from managers, locals, and service managers.
Should we take several comments and questions, and then I'll batch them?
It's up to you how to
Okay.
manage the question.
It makes the seat less hot for me if I take multiple questions.
And then you can answer the one that you want.
Yeah, exactly. You call me. You call me.
You're the smartest speaker I've ever met.
Oh.
The question I had for you was around the policy thing. You know, as when you said, you know, these countries need policies, and I'm thinking, dude, you're talking to a bunch of health informatics. We wouldn't know our policy if we fell over that. And then I said, you know, maybe you should go to a policy group, and I realized that I went to a policy group and they don't know anything either.
About informatics, yeah.
Or even about policies.
Also true.
I mean, I was just, and so then I thought maybe we should go and speak to some real policy people in Canada, and realize we have no good policies because the evidence is all around us that there ain't no good policies here. I'm sorry, lady, you have to go to some other country to find good policies.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But I think, I think I might have a solution for you.
Oh.
Is that, yes.
Heard it here.
Yes, because I think one of the things we do in health informatics is we do a thing called requirement specifications
Yes.
of business analysis. And I think using those kinds of approaches and design and architecture are much more, can lead you down a policy pathway that's much more exciting than anything that could be produced anywhere else.
So, John Badman from New Zealand. My question is also about policy and about the Alma Ata Declaration, which I understand very much about. It was signed about 2 years ago to promote primary care. Now, some of the smaller developed countries have done pretty well by pursuing that approach of clustering everything around primary care. But my question is whether the developing countries are doing that, or whether it's just not a feasible starting point.
Is there a question about Honda AWN 466 Actor 417 NGC the car park is from here. Announcement from Leslie. If you have any tickets for dinner tonight and you're not going to use it, and please return your registration desk. Thank you for that. And the posters are still in Marina Room. Please, after this morning talk, can you go and have a look at it? This morning lecture is going to use name and lecture and learn introducing thank you.
I'll just ask you to bear with me. I just returned from hymns less than 48 hours ago, and I caught one of those colds that we get at the conferences coming back from the plane, so just bear with me as well. Public speaking was not my forte, it was always my father's forte, so I thank you very much for the honor of being able to introduce the keynote for this first Steve lecture at Edge. Many of you here today knew my father. Some knew him better than others. And I can tell you with all honesty, he cherished your friendships throughout his life. There were many here today who did not know him, and for that I am sorry he missed the opportunity to have met you. He would have embraced your knowledge and your enthusiasm, along with your present and future contributions to healthcare informatics. Stephen was considered to be one of the pioneers in the field, working in the health industry and informatics for over 40 years, holding various senior level executive positions in healthcare facilities, government, the private sector, and nonprofit associations. A few of the highlights of his contributions over the years were the founding president of COACH, Canada's Health Informatics Association. He co-founded the organization that is now known as ITAC Health. He founded Healthcare Information Management and Communications Canada and was the editor and publisher until his death. This year, the journal is celebrating its 25th year of publication. He was also the executive director for IMIA, the International Health Informatics Association, Medical Informatics Association, sorry about that. Much of the health informatics that we work in today was founded off of the hard volunteerism of people such as Steve Husing and many of his peers that he worked with in the industry. Professor Coward, of whom the keynote lecture was dedicated to yesterday here at Edge, as well as our Professor Prodi, who recently retired last year, along with countless others that are amongst us today. I know that my father would want us to focus these few words on the industry that we serve, rather than on his contributions. He would want to encourage you to continue to share your knowledge, your experiences, the good and the bad, to collaborate, to debate, to find the path to work together to reach successes. He was a strong supporter of ITCH since its inception, and he would have been so honored to have had this keynote to be dedicated in his name. With that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Professor Jeremy Wyatt. He is the director of the new Institute for Digital Healthcare, professor of e-health innovation in Warwick University, and visiting professor in medical informatics in Amsterdam, Porto, and City University. Prior to this, Professor Wyatt directed the Health Informatics Center and e-health research. Oops. I'll just ignore that. Sorry. Sorry about that, Professor Wyatt. The Health Informatics, oh, I'm still doing it. Sorry about that. Prior to this, Professor Wyatt directed the Health Informatics Center and e-health research group at Dundee University, was the R&D director at NICE and in NHS academic advisor for knowledge management, and visiting professor in the Department of Primary Care in Oxford. He has served on the board of the NHS Scotland Centre for Telehealth and as a member of the review group for the UK Cochrane Centre and York Centre for Reviews and Dissemination. In 1992, he was involved in founding the Cochrane Collaboration, and in 1996 founded the Cochrane Effective Practice and Organization of Care Group. Professor Wyatt was the first UK fellow elected by the American College of Medical Informatics and is the third most cited researcher in his field worldwide on H-index of 24. He is a trained physician in Oxford and still sees patients in a diabetes clinic. Please welcome Professor Wyatt.
Well, thank you for that very kind introduction, and thank you also to the organising committee, and particularly to Abdul Nisari for inviting me to give this lecture. I'll just find my slides. Okay, so I think there is an abstract of this talk in the proceedings. I've changed the title very slightly. I called it the telehealth crisis. I'm now calling it the telehealth meltdown. Fortunately, the good news is I hope that perhaps towards the end of this talk we can discuss a little bit about how to fix it. But to start, just a further acknowledgement of Stephen Quercy, who I was lucky to meet on 2 or 3 occasions at coach meetings and at AMIA 4 meetings. And I won't read all this out, but just to point out the bottom bullet point there, he had a great passion for honest, open and respectful debate. And I hope that my talk and our discussion will initiate some of that around what telehealth is and what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve with telehealth. A word too about where I'm coming from and about our new institute. We're based in the International Digital Laboratory, which is in a very nice architect design building on the Warwick University campus. And it's quite spacious inside. We don't have all of that yet. The IDH is a partnership between the university and the National Health Service. It's literally 50-50 funding over that 5-year period. We're bringing in other organisations as well. We see it very much as the collaborative network. And our aim is to promote high quality research and development and implementation, the uptake of effective and appropriate digital healthcare technologies. So we have an incubator, a demonstrator, we have a facilitator role in policy development. So far, we were founded in June last year. We're quite young, but we have 7 academic staff and an increasing number of PhD students. So it's a very exciting place with quite a lot of buzz. There's a brochure here about it if anybody's interested. Turning to this lecture, in the next 40 minutes I really want to, first of all, start with telehealth and its very exciting potential. I'm not a technology cynic. I'm sometimes a skeptic. I think we need to get the technology right. And we've heard some of that yesterday in some interesting discussions around negative studies in the evaluation session. I want then to review the current evidence base, the systematic reviews on telehealth, and then a recent mega trial, 1,600 patients, Chowdhury, published in New England Journal of Medicine just before Christmas. You may not have seen it yet, but I think it's a very important landmark in the evidence base on telehealth. There's another negative trial which I'd like to draw to your attention as well, and then moving on to how we might fix telehealth and discuss a debate. So first of all, what is telehealth? It's not a new idea. This is the front cover of Radio News from 1924. The radio doctor, you can see there somebody sitting in front of an elaborate vacuum tube powered device showing their tongue to a remote doctor. The radio doctor, and look at the list of authors. So Oliver Lodge. Anyway, so it's not a new idea, but the idea is that we should be able to use appropriate digital technologies to redesign health services. That's my short definition. Long as it's about supporting people to self-manage at home, particularly people with long-term conditions. What do we mean by appropriate digital technology? Well, here's a fine example of inappropriate technology. There are a whole range of different digital technologies that we could be applying. Some of these may be appropriate in telehealth, some may not be. Virtual reality, serious games, well actually maybe. And I'm involved in a serious game application for remotely supervised physiotherapy for people who've had stroke. So some or all of these may be appropriate under the right circumstances. Here's an example of another project that we're involved with a small startup company in London called Sidekick Studios. They've come up with the idea of bringing elderly people, and particularly people with mental health problems, back into their social network by giving them a digital radio. Looks pretty like an ordinary radio, slightly retro design, maybe fitting with that demographic group, but it has a dial on it which they can tune in to their mood. How are they feeling today? Then press a button